and welcome to the Love Strategy Podcast. I'm your host, Angela,
And I'm Akila.
and we are a mother in law and daughter in law team. We help individuals and couples navigate the relationships in their lives. Right, Keela?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We are excited, as usual, to be here and talk with you guys about what are we talking about?
This week. Yep. So this week we have a fun plethora of topics. So first, we're going to talk about ourselves. We want to give you a little bit of background about us and how we became so close and how our relationship works. Also, we wanted to kind of give you some tips on how to reach your relationship goals, help you with your relationship goals, and also help you define what it is you're looking for, because you may not find what you're looking for in the dating world because you're not defining that for yourself and you're not clear on what it is that you actually want.
Absolutely. As in anything in life, you have to be clear. You have to know where you're going to get where you're going.
Exactly.
Right? So, okay, I am so looking forward to talking about that. But as she said, we want to just share a little bit about who we are and what we do. So, let me just start off first by saying this. I am a woman, obviously. I am a mom of 3 adult children, all of whom are married. Thank God for that. And as a matter of fact, my youngest is married to this beauty right here. And that's why we are mother-in-law and daughter-in-laws. And so, I have for a number of years mediated cases with families, with the local courts here. I've mediated cases with families in the community, and that's just something that I enjoy, because I believe in love. And so anything I can do to help individuals find love, keep love, and make love work, I'm open. So that's a little bit about me in terms of relationships. What about you, Keila?
All right. So I have a lot of experience with friends and family, helping them in their relationships, navigate new relationships. I have helped couples as well as married couples in their relationships and navigate some issues that they were having, as well as and it doesn't always have to be issues. It can just be hurdles that they're getting over, or new things that I assist with and have assisted with. I'm also a life coach and relationship coach. And so I have that background, and I've had a matchmaking background as well. So I have done that for over a few years now at this point.
Okay.
Way over a few years, helping couples and helping individuals with their relationships.
So it seems like you too, Akila, this is just in you.
It is.
And you believe in love.
I do believe in it.
All right.
Yeah, everyone I think it goes for both of us, but anyone we speak to and help, or just a listening ear to anyone that we speak to, they're just really comfortable with us.
Absolutely.
And love the guidance that we provide. So, that just comes with the passion that we have.
Absolutely.
It comes natural for us.
And one thing that I find, Akila, is by helping others, I help myself. And I think, I have been married over 4 decades, and, must be doing something right. And let me add, not just married, happily married, okay? Mm-hmm. And so, I am just excited to share with individuals things that have helped me weather the storm, and that have helped me get to the point where I said, man, I'm sure glad I hung in there and I made it work.
I agree. That definitely adds to our background. And it also helps our relationships, like you said. And I've been married for 4 years, coming up on 4 years. So all of that helps you all in relationships and help the folks that we help in their relationships, but it also gives us introspection.
Absolutely.
So that we can make sure, that we're on our P's and Q's and making sure our relationships are going how we want them to and our desired outcomes.
Absolutely. So in other words, we're not just talking the talk. We're walking the walk.
Exactly.
Okay?
And no one's perfect. So we're working on us while we're helping work on you. So.
And, you never know. Just stay tuned. We may have our spouses join us one time so you can, say, let me see if they can back it up.
Right.
But so that's a little bit, about us. Now, as she says, she's been married 4 years and she's married to my son. So obviously, prior to their marriage, I didn't even know she existed. So let's talk about Akila, the whole, our dynamics, our relationship, and how we initially met, and how our relationship has developed and continues to develop.
All right.
Let's talk about that.
So naturally, coming into a relationship as a woman, as anyone, but as a potential spouse, you are, at some point you have to meet the parents, right? And you usually,
at least you should.
You definitely should, right? And before you get serious, especially if you have a good relationship with your parents and with your family, it's very important that everyone knows everyone and gets to know everyone. Everybody's comfortable. You get to know their family so that you can see where they come from and you see how they interact with them. That would tell you a lot about your potential spouse.
Absolutely.
And so usually you would like to have a little notice that you're going to meet your potential mother-in-law or father-in-law.
That would be helpful.
That would be very helpful. So not that you have to prepare a written statement or that you have to put on a facade or anything, but it's just get you ready in your spirit so okay, I'm meeting this person.
I can
Are we
understand
even
that.
there?
I can understand
to
that.
meet the parents,
Okay.
right? So let's just give a brief story of how our initial meeting. So I was on the phone with my husband, and it was just a regular conversation that we typically have at the end of his workday and at the end of my workday. And out of nowhere, he says, "Are you ready to meet my mom?" And I say, hold on, wait a minute. Like now? And he says, yes. Actually, you have braid sticking out. I can't go any longer. I see it. It's hanging on the other side.
Well, thank you. See, we keep it 100, okay?
On the other side.
We keep it 100.
Okay. So I couldn't let her, the braid was, I could see it. Okay. So, he said, now, and I said, well, are you, I'm not even ready. Mind you, I just got off of work. Usually you get off of work, you're taking off your clothes, you remove makeup, earrings, hair comes down, etc. And a very important detail that I have to put in here, we had a long distance relationship, so he did not know how I was looking or how I might have felt right at that moment coming out of work. So he says, yes, now. And I said, well, okay, in my mind, I'm thinking no. However, at the same time, I'm thinking, let me ask, did he already tell her that we're going to meet? Because at this point, if you tell someone, definitely a parent, they're ready, they're going to come on and meet you, then all of a sudden they'd be a flake. I don't want to be a flake. I don't want to look like I was afraid to meet her or anything like that, because that was not the case. I just was not ready. I was not prepared for that moment. So I said, okay, fine. And he said, okay, it's going to be on video. Seriously? So now not only is this a phone meeting, it's a video meeting. So I have to, fix my hair back up, put a little makeup on. I said, okay, let's go. And so I was like, give me 10 minutes. Now we're also, we haven't really divulged, but we're Muslim, so we tend to dress a little bit more modestly. And I had a tank top on because I just got off of work. So now I have to find a nice neckline top so I don't look like a floozy. I wanted to run and put my eye makeup on. I had to comb my hair down. Thankfully, I had just gotten it done. So I had to comb my hair down, though, and just really go over in my head, okay, prepare yourself for the potential questions that she could ask you. Present yourself as the person that you know you are and at the person that your parents raised, which is a very intelligent person who can handle any situation. So I said, okay, let's go. And so we got on the video call, and let me tell you,
her perspective, guys. Her perspective was like she was on the firing line.
Wait,
okay?
you hear? She has to put a disclaimer out there. Her perspective.
So let me say this.
Mama Bear came out. Is what
and you know what? She is telling the absolute truth. She is
and I could completely understand it. I understand.
She is telling the absolute
where she comes
truth.
from.
So let me now say this. So when my son, her husband, asked me if I was ready to meet her, I was somewhat taken aback because, again, this, as she said, they had a long distance relationship. And let me tell you this, make no hesitation, reservation about it. I was dead set against long distance relationships. My concern was I had talked to my son ever since he could walk and talk. I had talked to him, all of my children, about the importance of marriage and finding, doing your due diligence, finding a spouse that has similar goals, values, morals as you. And so when he told me about this potential spouse and the fact that she lived in a whole different state that was in a whole different time zone, my antennas came up. I was not happy at all. I was not happy because in my mind I'm thinking, and how are they going to get to know each other? How am I going to meet her family? How's her family going to meet? How are we this is not going to work. This is a sham. So I had much attitude. I'm going to tell you, I had much attitude. And so when he arranged this meeting, I was like, I'm not holding back anything.
And she didn't know either. She wasn't prepared for the meeting either.
That's right. I wasn't, because
so
it was like,
I'm calling out my husband. No.
Who she loves dearly. But anyway.
Very much so.
But she's right. We both were just like, okay, what? Huh? But I was, again, as she say, Mama Bear, she got it. I don't deny that. She is 100% accurate, because I'm like, I've invested too much as a parent in raising him for him to be duped by some internet female who talking about, oh yeah, I believe in marriage, I want to get married, and I'm this and I'm that. I was like, you know what? My children have to live their own lives. This is their decision. But if I need to intervene, I'm going to intervene.
And I completely understand from a mother's standpoint where she was coming from. And so I was not upset at her by any means. I was taken back by her aggressiveness on the phone or on a video chat, because it was just question after question after question that I feel like both of us should have been asked, as far as me and my now husband should have been asked, but they were all fired towards me, because in her mind, as she just said, in her mind is, who is this person? Who are you?
Absolutely.
And she didn't have too much to go off of, because he did not really provide that to her beforehand. Right. So it was just like, who are you coming in here, you're on the internet,
trying to bamboozle my son.
Exactly. And I was just not even a face. I wasn't a person at that point. It was someone on the other end of the internet. And hopefully while we were conversing a little bit, the fact that I was actually on camera did help. I'm not sure. I can't speak for you, but that I was actually showing up, that I was a real person there, did help. And I was hoping that helped, because I felt that energy while she was talking to me. I said, she's thinking I'm a complete fraud. Meanwhile, at the same time, my family and me, when I say my family, at the time it was my brother, my father, and my mother, had the exact same feelings towards my now husband, because it's like, how do you know this person? How are you going to get to know this person? They had the same questions, which is why I could completely understand where she was coming from, because little did she know I had the same reservations and I was just as nervous about this long distance relationship. And I was like, don't attack. Like in my mind, I'm like, don't attack me. I'm with you. I understand. Like I get it too. I'm glad to know that you all are real and he has a mother who cares, because this is saying a lot to me. And so it was just very aggressive. Like it didn't make me feel any way or anything. Because I understood. It's just I handled it, you know.
And it was. And let me say this. Her mom later on, her mom and I talked about this, and her mom said when Akilah first brought this to her attention, she was like, Akilah, a long distance relationship over the internet. Her mom had concerns and reservations just like me. And I think that goes to show that we are both like-minded people. You know, she's her mom's only child. And her mom's thinking, wait a minute, is my daughter getting into something that, you know, it's gonna be on the evening news? A girl in Florida goes to Missouri and we never hear about her. And so I appreciate that we both had concerns about each other's, you know, past and family and history, because who you are as an adult is directly related to how you were parented. And so that's where that concern was coming from.
And I mean, you know, and ultimately it was an interesting beginning to our meeting. And I remember when I came to Missouri, because I was like, oh man, okay, she doesn't like me. I mean, that was the beginning of the relationship, you know, that was the first time we met, and I was like, she doesn't like me. However, I have confidence in me as a person. So I was like, I took it as a challenge, because I'm like, she doesn't know who I am, and I am very likable. I mean, I'm tooting my own horn, but seriously, I am. And so I'm like, I've never run into anybody who just flat out didn't like me. And I'm pretty genuine as a person. So I said, okay, I'm taking this as a challenge. I'm not going to, even though I had a bit of a reservation going to meet her in person, because I was like, okay, if she's going to maintain this energy, what type of person is she? If after meeting me, that doesn't change. However, when I came in, it was one of the first time I met you in person. I came in the house and she gave me a hug. She was like, I'm so sorry. She was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's, you know, it's fine. I understand where you're coming from. And I also didn't want you to think that, you know, you scared me. It's not that you scared me. It was just, I was not ready for it, period. But I was like, okay, this is good.
And let me say, so my intent was I wanted her to know that this was serious. I'm not just, oh, okay, he's mad, because physically, she was very attractive and a pretty girl. I told my son, I said, oh, she's cute. I wasn't concerned about that. I was concerned about whether or not she had the qualities, characteristics that would mesh with his, so that they would improve their chances of a successful long-term marriage.
Oh, yeah, she kept saying that.
Yeah.
I remember she said, well, you have to be like-minded, because if you're not like-minded, that increases your chances of divorce. And I said, oh gosh, she's starting off negative.
No, but you know what? Because
it was so funny.
The battle, half of the battle of having a successful long-term marriage is doing the work up front, picking a person who has similar values, similar morals, similar lifestyle. As she said, we're of the Islamic faith, and you're starting off in the negative. If you're of an Islamic faith and you marry, although it's permissible, you marry someone of the other faith, you're just asking for problems.
And I think that goes with any faith.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And if that's important, and I hope right. You know that I've raised my children that they know that religion, their spiritual life, a way of living, is important. And so that's why I had that energy. I'm like, this is serious. She was going to be possibly my grandchildren's mother, and I wanted to know that she's mother material, you know, that she's going to love her baby and her babies. And let me tell y'all, she just had one, and oh my God, she and her son, they're doing an excellent job. But I mean, that's what I was looking at, because when you've gone down that road, and so I'm like, how is she, emotionally? How is she spiritually? How is she financially? How is she, because sometimes when you're first enter into a relationship, you're not thinking along those terms. And so that's why we need the elders, her parents, her siblings, her family, her husband's parents, siblings. That's why marriages involve families coming together.
Right. I agree. And it's interesting, I love that you say, you have to think about all of these things and I did explain that a little bit to you. I don't know if you remember, but I said being long distance actually helps us go through these different conversations that we need to have.
Yeah, and get to know each other. She did say that. I do remember that. She did.
Because we were very intentional, my now husband and I, we were very intentional with how we carried on our relationship. Hence why, because I met her early, and that's fine, but I just wasn't prepared for it. And that's fine that we met early because it gave me a chance to know where he comes from, and vice versa. And he met my people early as well for the same reasons, to know exact. So he knows that I'm serious and that he knows where I come from and my values and what I expect him to bring to the table. And so we actually were having those conversations, and the fact that I am so relationship oriented and have a passion for relationship success and working through things and conflict management and working through conflict, we were actually having a lot of those conversations. Some of them, we just weren't there yet because of when we met. Yeah. But we were actually working through those conversations. And so I'm like, and ultimately, I think you and my mom actually came to the conclusion, and it took you all a minute. I think it was at the wedding or right before the wedding, but came to the conclusion, we have to trust our children.
Yeah, and your mom did. Your mom did say. Yeah, your mom did say that. She's absolutely right. She says, you know what? I think we did a fantastic job in parenting them, and so we've got to trust them. But by that point, and she said, and this may not be popular in 2021, but both families were involved in this relationship early on. And when I say involved, it's not like we were in their business. Well, what y'all talking about? Right. Tell me this and that. But we were communicating. I talked with her brother. I talked with her mom. I eventually later met her dad. And that's what I needed. That's what you need. Because like I said, these are families coming together.
Right.
And once the decision was made that, okay, they're going to go to the next step and we're doing the preliminary work, I told her mother, she moved here, relocated to where my husband is. I told her mother, I said, I did not give birth to your baby girl, but you trust me. You better believe I am going to make sure that she's taken care of as if I gave birth to her. I said, I don't want you to worry. I'm going to be the mother away from mother. Okay, you're her mother. I don't want to replace you. I can never replace you. But I was trying to assure her mother, your daughter's not here by herself. I'm going to look out after. There's nothing going down. When she say Mama Bear, I'm now Mama Bear for the three little bears. Okay, don't cross it. And her mother, she really thanked me. She said, Angela, I feel so much better knowing that my daughter is in good hands. I said, absolutely, I understand. Because, I probably would have had to move to wherever my daughter was moving. I would have told my husband, you know what? I don't know about you. I'm out of here. See you. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't leave my boo. But I understood her mom. Her mom. And so, as you can see now, you all, I love her to pieces. I love my son. I love her. I love my baby girl. And there's nothing I wouldn't do for them. And, I mean, we get along. We do.
We match.
we
do.
And
I don't know. I think that first icebreaker was, even though it was intense for both of us, I think it helped.
Absolutely.
Because it was a heck of a icebreaker. Because at that point, I challenged myself to let her know, let me show her who she, who she's possibly accepted into her family. Like, I am all the way up on the same level as your husband. Is he on the same level as me? You know?
Yeah.
And so, and it was that. So I took that as a challenge. And I think between that and between you wanting to get to know me, we just, I don't know, we just really clicked. And so, and she also reminds me energy wise and a few characteristics of my mom. And so I can handle everything my mother-in-law has to dish out. Just because between my father and my mother, I come from very opinionated people, very boisterous folks. And so I can handle that. And I think just being brought up with them as my parents, it seems like she's just another mom.
Absolutely.
Basically.
Absolutely. And again, you know, let me say this to the parents out there. The whole ideal is we all want our children to be successful in life, you know, success all the way around. And for me, my number one priority is it first starts at home, because I think there's no other success that can compensate for failure at home. And so my main goal was to make sure that they optimize the possibilities of ensuring that this would be a long-term, successful, they be happily married. And so that was the goal. And so now that they are married, I realize my position. I realize, you know, I'm not in it now. I mean, we're an extended family. I'm the mother-in-law, but I step back. See, I step back because ultimately I want my son to be happy. And so his family is he and his wife and his children. Now I'm his mother, his father, and she has her mother, her father. But we are here for support and to help, but we step back. This is the deal. I'm happy if they're happy. And I realize my place now. See, I don't have to compete with her. You see, I think a lot of times the rift comes between mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws because mama-in-laws are not realizing
they don't know their place,
that they're not the queen bee anymore.
Right.
And so I'm cool, because guess what? I'm the queen bee for my man. I ain't got to be the queen bee for her son. And so I realized that. And so I'm like, oh, okay. She's number one. And then mommy. I'm cool with that. Be happy. Live your life. All I want my children to do is realize and recognize that they have to do what's pleasing to the Most High, be the best individuals that God created them to be, take care and love their children, and just do the right thing. I'm good. And that's all I ask. So I think that's why we get along. I respect her.
I agree.
That's my son's wife. I don't call him. I don't try to, you know, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't call him, but if I try to include her as the mother, as the wife. I'm not trying to, I'm gonna overlook her. She don't know that's my son. No, boo. You asking for HELL. Cause see, your son is gonna be like, that's who he lives with. He don't want hell from her. And so you just creating hell mother-in-laws for yourself and your son. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm gonna go through the wifey. I'm good. I'm gonna have a good working relationship. You know, and I did that with my husband and his mom. She was wonderful. May God rest her soul now. But she was absolutely wonderful. And as it turned out, I didn't have a problem at all. Anytime my husband wanted to do anything for his mother, I was cool, because I said, you know what? But for her, he wouldn't be here. So I'm good. Not just, hey, you want to pay for your mama's, pay for it. I didn't have a problem, you know, and I'm hoping that's the type of relationship, as, you know, I mature and life goes on, that we'll have. But you just got to realize and recognize where you are and what your position is now.
I agree. I think that definitely is what helped. And also, not only as a mother-in-law, it sounds harsh, but knowing your role and knowing your place, but as a daughter-in-law as well, like you just said, if that's something, as long as, I'm not speaking for everybody's relationship, for ours it works, but if you want to go and, you know, buy a present for your mom, if you want to do something for your mom, if you and your mother want to go out, I don't know, Mother's Day brunch or something with just you two, that's fine. You know, I encourage those things. I would say, did you call your mom for her birthday?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do this? What'd you get her? What are we getting your mother?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's important. Family is important to me. So I think it's very important for him to maintain that relationship because, how men treat the women in their lives is a little reflection of how they're going to treat.
Not a little reflection. It is.
So it is a
it's
big
how
reflection
they're
of treat you as a spouse, just as another woman in their lives. So, and I wanted to end on, you mentioned it briefly. You said it's not normal to kind of bring in families
early on.
However, I will say that is a very important factor in finding out if who you're talking to or who you're dating is who they say they are.
Absolutely.
You can learn about where they come from. We mentioned before that it's important to see, if you want to know if someone's genuine. This is a tried and true way to know if someone's genuine.
Absolutely.
Is to meet the family because, as we mentioned, with our faith, I wanted to see, okay, are they actually practicing their faith?
Right.
And I'm sure they want to see the same
Absolutely.
thing about me.
Absolutely.
Are they actually practicing because they can say they are, or he can say he is?
That's right.
And just
be
trying
a whole
to
different ball game.
Exactly, in the background. So it's very important that, and you may, for us, I made sure that he spoke to my brother. My brother was my gatekeeper, basically. I made sure that he spoke to my brother within the first week or two that we were communicating, because I wanted him to know, one, that I was serious. I wanted him to know that I have people behind me, so don't try to play me. So if you say something to me, I'm going to run it past my brother. Not everything. He doesn't need to know all of our business. However, that gives my husband, my now husband, notice that I have a male behind me who can sift through any BS that he may try to feed me. And someone that he needs to talk to and possibly might need to go through just during the dating phase, not now in marriage.
Absolutely.
In marriage, my brother completely...
It's a whole different ball game. It's the two of them, and they make the decisions for them. But they're a unit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as a woman, I want to tell you, whether, and I think this works, okay, yes, even if you're an older woman, I would say dating over 40, no, you may not, you may be at this point a little bit better at discerning, genuine characteristics and genuine people and genuine conversations. However, I will still say it's important for you to have a network around you, have people you trust, couples you trust, maybe to help you vet out your potential spouse.
Absolutely.
Because when you have a tribe behind you, it's hard to fool a whole tribe.
That's right. Absolutely. And they see with a different set of eyes.
Exactly.
And so you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Nope.
And it may end up that they say, hey, boo, he's not for you or she's not for you. That's okay. But at least you've done the work up front, as opposed to getting married, having 2-3 babies. It didn't work. Then you got divorced and baby mama drama and all that. Because again, our goal is we want to do all that we can to increase the chances of a successful long-term marriage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's our background. That's how we mesh. Hope we didn't bore you. I'm pretty sure we didn't, because our
but now you see why we chicken chain, right?
Exactly.
Cling and clang.
Right, and how we can do a podcast together as a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, which I think is unheard of. It's just you hear so many bad things about mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws.
You really do.
So
mother-in-laws,
I'm very blessed.
If you're out there and you having issues, join us, okay?
Yes.
Follow us on social media. Ask us questions. If you're going through a dilemma, and if you're just having a good time and you want to share something, drop it on us, okay?
Yeah, that might help the next person.
Yeah.
So, moving right along.
Okay, making progress.
I think we should talk about, which is along the lines, everything's along the lines of what one topic to the next, but defining relationship goals. And I don't mean the hashtag relationship goal. I mean your actual relationship goal. And we're in this series we're going to talk about love relationships, and intimate relationship as a couple.
Okay.
And not necessarily relationship as a family relationship, relationship with your son, etc., etc. Because we could go
So
down that
romantic,
road too. A
romantic
romantic, thank you. A
relationships. Okay.
romantic relationship is what
Okay.
we're talking about today. So, defining your relationship goals, and that wondering or presenting the question of, are you not properly defining your relationship goals? And is that the reason why you are running into people that are not for you, running into stalemate relationships, with people, wrong people, in 5-year relationships and never get that
I
ring,
and I don't understand that to
or
save
never
my
give
life.
that ring.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's dive into relationship goals and the importance of knowing what you want and saying that out loud and defining that.
And you know what? So I think that's key, Akila. I think first off, you have to decide what is the purpose of the relationship. Are you dating? Are you entering into this relationship with the purpose of marriage? Or are you entering this relationship for friends with benefits? Or are you, what is the purpose? Because you see, I think defining the purpose will determine what you're looking for. Right? Because if I'm just entering into a relationship for somebody to kick it with, quite honestly, I wouldn't care. I guess as long as they don't have a sexually transmitted disease, I'd be good. I mean, really, because I'm not looking for anything long term.
Right. So you don't need to have.
Absolutely. But if I'm looking for a long term relationship, a committed relationship, and I define committed relationships by way of marriage. If I'm looking for a committed relationship, then hey, I'm not going to waste my time dating someone who's dated 100 women.
Right.
Like the guy on Married at First. I'm just not. So I think that's key. What is the purpose of the relationship?
Right. And what is and before, I think I want to say even before that, in relationship, what she's saying is, even because a relationship can be a relation between two people, period.
Okay.
So let's say, so that means dating. So even if she says your intention, your dating intentions, so you're dating for this relationship, she's not saying that, in my opinion, that this is someone you've been talking to for 3 months, and what's that intention after 3 months,
Right,
and then you're
right.
just now trying to figure it out.
Absolutely.
No, it's the dating relationship, the even before you even set out for anything, you need to step back and really define for yourself, okay. And it's a little it's introspection as well. So what makes you happy? What makes you smile? And that could be, I love flowers.
That's right.
Just as simple
What
as
are
that.
your hobbies?
What are your
hobbies?
hobbies?
What do you like to do?
Right. So I love flowers. I love to travel. I love knitting. Not that the person that you meet is
Absolutely.
necessarily going to knit. However, that's part of you. So is the person going to respect your knitting
Absolutely.
hobby? Would they
Absolutely.
possibly go buy you yarn? Would
Yeah.
they support your hobby? So those are the things you need to really churn through beforehand. So define what that is for you. And then at that point, figure out what makes you happy. That is going to translate into possibly what a person needs to have to make your relationship work, or make you to be a spouse for you or a companion. So at that point, after you decide what makes you happy, if even ranging from as if it's casual, is you want to make sure that person is well endowed and can work it. That is defining. Okay, you're defining.
I'm gonna let her talk on that, okay?
But I'm just saying.
But no,
I just want to.
I mean, that's true.
I just want to
that's
say
true.
it could be that granular. That's you
Yeah.
defining what makes
Yeah.
you happy
Absolutely.
and what will fulfill you
Absolutely.
in that casual relationship, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you're approaching someone, so let's say a casual relationship is your relationship goal. So then you've defined what would make that relationship goal make you happy, or what in that goal would make you happy. So now you go out, you find people who are only wanting casual relationships that are safe And then once you get to speak to them, you can be upfront and say, I need to know what you're working with, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to mess with you and be disappointed.
I mean, which is true. I mean, that's true.
I want to know up front. So that's how you, with that. So let's say, and then, but moving to a more, something aligned with how we think, a more committed relationship. Let's say you're looking for someone that you want to have eventually marry.
Okay.
So that's your relationship goal, right? What would make you happy in a marriage? Someone that's caring, someone that has a love for you, obviously, someone who respects your hobbies and your career, respects you, etc., etc., thinks you're beautiful. The list can go on, but you have to define that for yourself. So now you've defined your relationship goal. You figured out what would make you happy once you reach that goal. So in marriage, what would make you happy? Now you have those tools when you go and look for someone. So you're on a dating app, or you're meeting someone at the grocery store. You, after the first date, you want to define, let them know, I'm looking for a serious relationship that ultimately leads to marriage.
That's right.
So
don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
So that gives you, that's what dating with intent. I know I've seen online that some people have, they're opposed to dating with intent, that phrase. But I think it's very important that you go in with a goal in mind, and that's dating with intent, in my opinion. So once you date with intent, you let somebody know you want something serious. So that weeds out folks who aren't serious, right?
That's right.
Then from that point, you know things that will make you happy in a successful, in your mind, a successful marriage that will make you happy. So then you start to work, once you're dating this person, getting to know this person, do they have these qualities and criteria that you have set out? And I'm not speaking superficially. That is something that's a bonus, of course. Right. But it's very important that you know the person's spirit. When it comes to faith, are they aligned with your faith, if that's important to you? So you really want to look out for the things that are important to you, and if this person is knocking off those very important check boxes, not just are they cute.
Absolutely. And now, and I agree with her 100%. Now, they can be easy on the eyes. That's a plus, but that's not the most important thing. And as she said, if you're entering into that relationship with a purpose in mind, i.e. you want a committed relationship, let me tell you all this. I know we hate to realize it, but we have a limited amount of time here on this earth, and you don't have time to waste. One thing that I just tell you I cannot understand is people who want to be, and I'm going to say women, because usually it's women I talk to. They want to be married. They want to be in a committed relationship, but they've been in this relationship. They've been in a relationship 5, 6, 7 years, and there's no marriage. Mm-hmm. One, you're wasting your time. You're not going to get that time back.
You're not. Right.
And that's enough time to know whether or not this individual has what you're looking for, So ladies, and I'm speaking to the ladies because my frame of reference is ladies. Don't waste your time. Mm-hmm. Don't do it. You're not going to get that time back. It doesn't take 5 or 6 years to ascertain whether or not this person has the qualities.
Right. Don't fool yourself, and don't let that person fool you into thinking
Absolutely, because you're wasting that time.
Yep.
You're wasting, and you could say, you know what, you're a good person. It's nothing against you. We're just not a match. Cut your losses and move on, because the person who's for you, you're not going to meet them if you're tied up in this situation.
Exactly.
And so that's the point, we want to make. Be clear about your goal and why you're entering into that relationship. Mm-hmm. I mean, make it easy on yourself, okay?
Yes. Yeah. Ultimately, that's what you are doing. And also, in part of releasing the 5-year relationship, or a relationship that's not working for you, it doesn't even have to be 5-year, but it can feel like a 5-year relationship if it's wrong for you. But letting that go can open you up, like you said, completely open you up, and it's
for new
energy
opportunities.
For new opportunities. It's if you put that energy out there, that you are open now, that you are receiving love, that you're receiving these things, and you have to genuinely believe it.
That's right.
Then it will come to you, but you have to be in that headspace for you to attract that energy.
And so if you're blocking, you're holding on to it for fear that, well, somebody is better than nobody, but it's not,
which is
it's not moving you toward your goal. Be bold enough, be brave enough to stand in your confidence, to know that I'm going to release this, and what I need is out there, and it will come to you. But you got to be like she said, you have to be willing to release it and open up so that you can accept.
So you can accept,
what's
and what
out
you
there.
will most likely find, which I find to be true, is once you do that, and because during that phase you're going to be working on yourself, right? So while you're working on yourself and while you're actually bettering yourself, and you start to see these positives about yourself that you never seen, you're starting to have hobbies that you didn't realize you loved.
Absolutely.
Once you start doing that and you're not necessarily looking for someone,
Boom.
there it is.
There it is. Because
I've seen it happen. It happened to me. I'm
That's right.
telling you that
it's
that
real. And what
is-
she's saying is real,
it
because
is
you
very
are
real.
exposing yourself. You're opening yourself
Yeah.
up and saying, I'm willing and I'm ready. And I am going to experience new experiences. And lo and behold, you may take up golfing. And there's somebody at the driving range that is single, find you attractive, and
You
say,
have
hey,
chemistry right off
you
the
need
bat."
some help, with your 9-iron or whatever.
And you didn't even know
Yeah,
that you were,
yeah,
that you were
yeah.
walking into your
Absolutely,
future. You didn't know that.
absolutely.
So I think that's very important. So what we want to leave you with is to put yourself out there. But before you do that, make sure you define your goals, your relationship goal, whether that be a casual relationship, whether that be a long-term relationship, whether that be, just a friendship. You have to know what your goal is and what
Absolutely.
you're working towards, and
Absolutely.
be true to yourself, and be realistic about that goal. If you're saying, oh, I just want a casual relationship, are you being realistic? Is that really what you want?
Absolutely.
Then you have to really think about the implications of that down the line for you, for your family, if you have kids, if you have family members who are opposed to that. What would that mean if they know? I mean, not that they have to know your business, but what if you end up in a situationship? What if you end up, with a
Absolutely.
child out of this casual
Absolutely.
relationship, or you end up with some type of, hopefully you do your research, but hopefully if you end up with some type of disease from this, what are the implications of a casual relationship, of marriage, on your family? What you need to think about all of that. And so you just have to take some time and really reflect and really define out what it is that you want. And I need you to also look for or don't be superficial, because
That's right.
it might not be what you were looking at.
That's
It might
right.
not be what you
so
think it
physically, he may not have all of what you want.
Exactly.
The tall,
Correct.
the head full of hair, the broad shoulders. But he may have most of what you want.
Most of what you want,
Yeah.
yep.
So just be bold enough and brave enough to stand in your truth.
Yes.
And be willing and ready to be open. That's really
That's what we're saying.
what we want to say. And so we're going to wrap this up. We wanted to talk about a little bit about Married at First Sight, just because, I just like to watch that show, y'all.
I do too. So hopefully you're still with us.
Yeah,
but
looks like we're gonna have to pick that up on the next episode.
yeah, I think we might have to.
Yeah, 'cause it is going to be pretty interesting. So, so we thank you all so much for joining us for today's episode. It has been my pleasure to sit here and discuss with Akila and present to you all. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we enjoy it. And
We look forward to talking with you again. And actually, I had an idea just now.
Okay.
While you were speaking. We said that we'll pick up on Married at First Sight on the next episode. But what I think we'll do is continue on YouTube. If you didn't know, we also are on YouTube.
that's right.
So I think we can continue our conversation over at our YouTube page.
All right.
So if you are interested in our Married at First Sight conversation, please go to our YouTube page at the Love Strategy Podcast. And we'll
on YouTube.
We'll
and
be over
please
there.
follow us subscribe, comment, and like our videos on YouTube, okay?
Yes.
And we are also, Kilo, tell them the other social media platforms that we're on. Please follow us.
Please follow us on Instagram at the Love Strategy Podcast. Please like our page and follow us on Facebook at the Love Strategy Podcast. Excuse me. And those are our two social media handles where we are. You can send us a direct message. You can send us a private message. And you can also click a link in our bio on Instagram and send us a voice message to be featured on our show.
All righty. And so please stay tuned and continue to listen to our podcast. We have a lot of exciting, interesting things that we're going to be bringing your way. And so for today's episode, we're going to wrap it up. We thank you for joining us. And until next time, we're out of here. Deuces.
Thank you for listening to the Love Strategy Podcast.
Perfect.